Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Casey Durango here of Go Keto with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life, like I did. Thank you for being here on this. For in our part of the world, it's kind of gloomy and it's been raining all night and it's a little bit chilly. So here we are. Now, I will tell you, this has never happened before. Oh, first of all, can you see and hear me? Last week was a fiasco. So I'm going to do this. Good morning. Good morning. Hello from Long Island, writes Lindy Joe. Chris J, good morning. Yes. Yes, see and hear. Thank you. Some of you may have been here last week when I was trying to do the same topic and it was just solar flares or something, and it was a terrible broadcast. So I stopped it and then I even deleted it. Today's topic is, I was going to say something. I don't know whether you guys can see it. It looks like there's a flame on me. It's a reflection of the fire, but I don't know where that reflection's coming from. Maybe it's my aura escaping. Thank you for the hearts. So many of us, when we start the protocol or are considering it or we are doing it, we can have our own reservations about it, the impacts on health, and then certainly if we listen to other people, it can be very scary. What is that? I'm sorry. I'm very distracted by things that are in my line of vision. Oh, well. Can't. Oh, it's the stool. Never mind. Sorry. I'm sorry. Squirrel. What impacts on health? We hope that the impacts, in my experience, the impact on my health after starting the protocol has been very positive. And lots of people have experienced positivity health-wise. But some people are still saying it's going to kill you, or it's very dangerous. Some of our healthcare providers say that. And it's not the case. Excuse me. This is bothering me. I'm going to have to take care of it. I'm like Adrian Monk in this regard. There. Plus, you can see more of Sweet Jack. So I've been doing this for 10 years, over 10 years. I'm going to tell you how I learned it and how I have practiced it for these 10 years. I started on January 8th, 2014. And I'm going to share with you my most recent medical checkup, my labs, which was last Monday, I think. Not this the week before. And I'm going to share them with you. First of all, to let you know how I learned it, how I've practiced it. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net carbs. Net carbs just means more carbs. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it, but you don't even need a food list. Eat fatty sources of protein. If you want, these are optional, limited amounts of full-fat dairy and limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables and leafy greens. But those aren't even required. Don't eat if you're not hungry. It's the most challenging part for many people and for me. Stop eating when you've had enough. Second most challenging part for many people, including me. And then I've added be patient and persevere. So there we are. That's it. Okay, but people say, well, all that meat and all the fat, your cholesterol is going to go through the roof, and that's going to give you clogged arteries, and it's going to kill you. It will be, a cardiac time bomb waiting to explode in your chest. Everyone needs to make their decisions for their benefit, for what they understand, for what they're comfortable. For me, it made sense to me. When I started doing it, I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. That was it. I'd given up on losing weight. You can go to my blog, link below, see some photographs about, not even my heaviest, but when I was doing the move more, eat less, low fat, try this, do the juice. None of that worked for me. And I was unhappy and hungry all the time. So I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, and I knew that was coming up. So I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes, came across the white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman of Duke University, who I was never his patient, but we are pals now, I'm happy to say. And the white coat video Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer, Dave. It's not on page 4. Don't eat it. He says eat when you're hungry. I say don't eat if you're not hungry. So I started that. And lo and behold, almost immediately, I started to feel better physically. Things were benefited, joint pain, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, you've heard this before, and I know you want to hear the numbers. So anyway, everything got better for me. You do what works for you. Now, I'm just going to have them here. You can still see and hear me? Yeah, good morning, low-carb friends, writes Colleen Sproul. Now, these are my most recent labs. And everyone wants, not everyone, people, okay, what's your cholesterol? My cholesterol, the reference range, what they want it to be is 200 or lower. Mine was 232. But even my doctor, who was skeptical about this 10 years ago, when I first saw her and I lost a little bit of weight, and she said, how have you lost weight? I said, by doing the opposite of what you've been telling me to do. And she took it on the chin. She's very good. Now she just says, he's still doing keto. It seems to be working for you great. She said, even with the 232 cholesterol, which is not terribly high, it's above what they want us to have, but it's because your other numbers are so high. Meaning, my LDLP, they want it to be under 1,000 millimolars per liter. Mine was 524. They want it to be less than 1,000. Mine was 524. LDLC, they want it to be optimally under 100. Mine is 96. But here's the interesting part. My HDL, high density lipoprotein, the so-called good cholesterol. Cholesterol is required, but the so-called good cholesterol. My last checkup, it was 117, which is high. This year, 126. Okay, so they want it to be greater than 39 HDL, 126. Triglyceride. Ideally, you want it 0 to 149, so 149 or lower. Mine was 57. Last checkup, it was 60. So my triglyceride continues to come down. My HDL continues to go up. Some of you may know that ideally, you want your HDL and triglyceride numbers to be the same. And if not the same, the HDL number to be higher. So if my triglyceride was 60 and my HDL was 60, great. But the higher the HDL is in proportion to the triglyceride, even better. This was, I think one time we were at a dorm sport group meeting. I was moderating it with Dr. Westman, and I just had a checkup, and my triglyceride was 94. And I was going to give some more numbers. I was sharing with the group. He said, oh, wait, you can stop there. Your HDL, rather, my HDL was 94. He said, your HDL is 94? You can stop talking now. We call that the Methuselah number. So mine has just continued to go up. So what about the LDL, the particles? Because some are big and fluffy and benign. Some are small and sticky and more problematic. The small, sticky LDL are the ones that they feel can create plaque and stick in your arteries. Problematic. Big, fluffy LDL, not a problem. So you want the small stickies, the count of the small stickies, ideally to be equal to or lower than 527 nanomolars per liter. 527 or lower. Mine was lower than 90. Okay, small stickies. And you want particle size to be at least 20.5. That's the actual size of the LDLs. Mine was 21.5. My IR score, my insulin resistance score, this is how sensitive your system is to insulin when it's required. Insulin is there and it has a job. We don't want to eliminate insulin. That's bad. That's type 1 diabetes. But we don't want to be swimming in it, and having been swimming in it for so long that our bodies become resistant to the benefits, which is driving glucose out of the blood and into the cells. So a good ideal IR score, insulin resistance score, would be equal to or lower than 45. Mine's lower than 25. I'm very insulin sensitive. My body is firing on all cylinders, y'all. And what else was it? Oh, here's another thing. It has nothing to do with keto. Last checkup, I was vitamin D deficient. Many people, it's a very common thing, but mine was pretty low. They want it to be at least 30 measures, whatever you're measuring. What are you measuring there? You want it to be at least 30 nanograms per milliliter. At least 30. Mine last time was 19.1. That's low. So, So my husband and I started taking cod liver oil, teaspoon a day. That's it. It's the only change I've made as far as vitamin D goes. And this time, if you want it to be at least 30, mine was 31.2. I am not vitamin D deficient. So all of this is to say, for me, thank you for the celebrations. All of this is to say, do what works for you. When I was first doing this and I was losing weight and feeling better, I wasn't losing, it didn't drop off of me, it didn't melt off. I was losing weight, but mostly my joint pain disappeared. My mood regulated. I felt more comfortable within my own skin. Why? Okay, I know what I'm doing and that it's working. Why is it working? So I got a copy of what I would recommend to anyone who's curious about why does this work? The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living by Doctors Stephen Finney and Jeff Folick. If you go to my blog, link below, click on references, reference materials or resources. It's the first book I have listed. I recommend. Highly recommend it. It explains the physiology. It explains why when we're doing low fat and eating our rice cake and half a grapefruit with skim milk for breakfast, why we are ravenous 2 hours later. It's not because we're lazy slobs. It's because our brain is calling for glucose. When you're burning sugar for fuel, your brain, get the book. They explain it very well. I was reading, oh my God, that's me. So that gave me confidence to move forward, that I was not going to be killing myself. I am very healthy. Take it from me. And I am probably like most people metabolically, but we're all different. And you don't have to announce to people that you're doing this. If you're going to get pushback, oh my God, you're going to kill yourself. Aren't you afraid of all that fat? Just don't say anything. I didn't tell anybody I was doing this until I started to lose weight. And people would say, because, when you're a historically fat person and you've tried lots of things and you say, go into it enthusiastically. Okay, I'm going to do this and lose weight. And then you lose 5 pounds and then you put on 7. Your friends are like, oh, good for you, Casey. So I didn't tell anyone. Here she goes again, going to try. But it was noticeable after about 25 pounds lost. So they'd ask, I would tell them, oh my gosh, aren't you worried about all that? No, I'm really not. So there we go. That is, am I missing any of the labs? Does anyone have a question? I'm happy to share, but I do want to just remind you, you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. Be your own health advocate. Dr. Westman has jokingly said, but Dr. Westman, my doctor is very concerned about my cholesterol. Dr. Westman says, well, tell him to take a Valium and calm down. So anyway, there we go. Reminder, you don't have to buy one thing to be 100% successful at this protocol. Not a kit, not a food product, certainly. Nothing that says keto on the label. Nothing. Nothing. But I will happily sell you a t-shirt. I have some links to my products below. So I went keto with Casey and some other things. A green book. You can see the link to this. It's Casey's journal at Amazon. If you go to my blog, you'll see it. Click and go to Amazon. You can buy a PDF of the pages instead of buying the book. Print off the pages that you like. All of that. I want to say thank you to patrons, some of whom are here. I have a private Patreon group, and depending on your pledge level, you get 20 video snippets from me every weekday morning. Going up from there, a handful of patron-only live streams, and going up from there, monthly one-on-one with me. So thank you very much for that. Hashtag Casey's Pink Drink. Tumbler full of ice, diet tonic water, splash of diet cranberry juice, squeeze of lime. And I'm going to turn my attention to y'all who have lovingly showed up here. So thank you so much. I just jump in from the middle. So if you've made a comment or question and I didn't get to it, just do it again because I just start. Olivia Richards writes, my cholesterol is 214. My HDL is 67. And he said it's high. Said over 60 is high. My LDL is 135. Said it's high over 100. Wants me to take cholesterol meds. Said stop keto. Well, you have some decisions to make. And HDL is good. And there is not an LDL. Two types of LDL. Maybe your doc needs to do some reading. Cassandra Bowl, congratulations on your great labs. Thank you. Judy Porterfield, good morning from Michigan. Sardines. Christina writes, just did some labs and my triglyceride was 242 and HDL 60. I also had an APOB of 151. I am frustrated. Great job, Casey. I am not giving up as I know it takes time. Good for you, Christina. And it's actually possible for triglycerides in the first few months that you're doing this. If you're actually following the protocol, you start burning fat for fuel. It is possible for the triglyceride number to go up. Eek. Why? Because as we start burning fat for fuel, the fat cells don't just contain fat. They contain hormones and triglyceride and LDL. So then it's released into the blood. So your serum triglyceride can actually increase. Stick with it and it should come down. It's the carbs that are the problem. And also, as your triglycerides go down, your HDL goes up. It's like a teeter-totter. Decky Dampier, congratulations. You are firing on all cylinders. I truly am. I feel like it anyway. Happy Ferret, excellent lab numbers. Kelly Lawler, just had my lipid labs done. Been keto for 6.5 years. HDL, 109. LDL, okay, there is not just an LDL. Again. So I can't speak to that. Triglycerides, 54. So your HDL and triglyceride ratio is fantastic. My doctor was pleased. LDL coming down slowly from when I started. I also reversed type 2 diabetes. Huzzah. That is the name of the game. Pula writes, excuse me, my screen jumps around a little bit. Pula writes, morning, Olivia Richardson, how did you respond to your doctor? Good question. Happy Ferret. At Kelly Lawler, way to go. And Joni Sanchez, good morning. Good morning, sunshine. Congratulations, Casey. Impressive lab results. It reflects on how awesome you must feel. You look amazing. Thank you. Bravo. Clappy hands and heart. Thanks for being an inspiration to us. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Keto Simple. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Debbie Freidenberg. Hi, Casey. Missed you last week. Glad to see you back. Well, I had to delete last week's. It was a catastrophe technology-wise. Everything looked good with me, but it was a bad broadcast, so I deleted it. But it was the same topic as this. Brenda Hamilton, my cholesterol is about the same as yours, but I don't worry because I know it isn't from carbs that it is that is the enemy. Cholesterol is not our enemy. Exactly. Cholesterol is vital to every cell in our body. Every cell. Our bodies. Without cholesterol, we would dissolve into a puddle. It's just we get things out of whack. We're burning sugar for fuel. And then we have those insulin response, and it's inflammatory, and triglycerides are inflammatory, and HDL is putting out the fire. It's all messed up. Happy Ferret, Casey, did you see anything go suboptimal when you initially went keto? That has since returned or improved as you continued on keto? No. I had to ask the first time I went after having started keto, and when the doctor said, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do that?" By doing the opposite. I had to ask her for a full lipid panel. It's called an NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance panel, where they tease out all the stuff rather than just the overall cholesterol number and LDL is this and HDL is that or whatever. So I didn't have a baseline. She didn't used to routinely pull that. Now she just knows. She said, "Oh, you want the full thing? I'm going to give it to you." But I didn't have a baseline. So I don't know whether anything went suboptimal. But since I've been this, everything has continued to improve. The vitamin D did go down, but again, vitamin D deficiency is very common. We spend less time outside in the sun, and when we do go, we slather ourselves with SPF 1 million and things like that. Sun is the best way. The skin is the best way to get vitamin D. But I highly recommend the cod liver oil. I get it from Amazon. It's Carlson's. Again, it's on my blog. My faves or resources. I have it somewhere link. It is an affiliate link with Amazon, but it won't cost you any more. And I get a little taste. Just trying to earn my keep. But it is good. I only recommend things that I recommend. Love keto. Got rid of my heartburn issues. This is another thing. Acid reflux, GERD, joint pain, irritable bowel syndrome, which is kind of an umbrella term for a lot of things. I had chronic ulcerative colitis. Not anymore. It's just clear. I'm just feeding my body with what it wants. I don't take any supplements. I'm not even taking magnesium anymore. I don't do anything trying to improve my gut. My gut is fine. I just eat food that works with me. You do what works for you. I don't take electrolytes. That's very expensive to me. So I just eat the good food. And if I get sufficient sodium, and that helps manage the magnesium and the potassium and the calcium. Oh, all my other minerals were just fine on my blood work. Everything was right where you want it to be. Christina writes, curious, what is your favorite meat? Well, I like them all. I gotta say, every time my husband and I eat ribeye, we look at each other while we're eating and say, we could eat this every day. So a well prepared ribeye, love it. I like poultry. I like liver, beef liver. I like pork. I like lamb. Some people don't care for it, but I like it. So I like everything on page 4, all the stuff. But ribeye is my favorite. And I'm very fortunate. We can have ribeye. And we buy a full ribeye at Costco, and my husband portions it. He used to be a meat cutter. And he portions it just the way I like them. Okay, Olivia Richards says, I said no. I'm taking an herb called bergamot and will not take the prescriptions. Good for you. I don't know anything about bergamot, but, statins, there's a lot to be said about statins. Roxanne, they are effective, but I think my understanding is that really statins are only effective for men who have already had a cardiac event. Pretty much not effective for women. And if you haven't had a cardiac event, okay. So anyway, but there's a whole lot you can find out about that. Roxanne Budd, I'm going to listen to this again and take notes. I have high cholesterol and need to check my numbers. See, high cholesterol is a term that doctors like it. It's simple. It's a number. But my doctor is not concerned about my so-called high overall cholesterol number because my HDL is through the roof. See, the overall cholesterol number, it's not like they're counting just cholesterol. There are like 5 types of cholesterol at least. And so the overall number is a mathematical equation. As Zoe Harcum says, it's a mathematical equation based on 5 factors, 2 of which can't be measured. It's just a mathematical calculation. Patty Solberg, Olivia Richards, my numbers are similar to yours. I requested a CAC scan on my score was 0. Doctor said I didn't have to go on statins. Our doctor, we have the same doctor, is very concerned about my husband's LDL. Everything else is perfect. He's an optimal specimen. His weight, his blood pressure, his blood sugar, his HDL, his triglyceride, his body mass index, his IR score, everything's good except for the LDL. And they wanted him to, they've called, you need to get right now to the pharmacy, get a prescription for statins. And he's not. They've been saying this for 5 years. He is very possibly, if you've heard this phrase, lean mass hyperresponder. He's a trim person, muscular. This is LDL. So went and got a CAC score. Like you, 0. Patty, okay, Kathleen Hughes, off blood pressure meds, but still struggling to get blood pressure normal. Been on keto for almost a year. Does anyone know of a natural product to lower blood pressure? I will tell you, Kathleen, I've heard Dr. Westman say many times that with his patients in his clinic, the blood pressure issue is the last domino to fall. So maybe keep it up. And of course, there are non-medical and non-supplement ways to get blood pressure. I just saw a video today about how houseplants, tending to houseplants, just, trying to come down. So good luck with that. Roxanne Budd writes, I'm doing keto and have been for a while now. Think I'm going to get a CAC. A CAC is a coronary artery calcium test. They do a thing right in your neck there. They count. So 0 is, anything up to 100, I think, is okay. I'd have to look. But my husband's was 0. And then it can go up to like 410. So Pula writes, hi, Casey. I get my labs done Tuesday. In August, all was good. I have been off and on ketovore since holidays. Do you know how good I feel while on track? Light and energetic. Your videos, very helpful through the years. Well, thank you very much. And I like the feeling of lightness. It's hard to describe. I mean, my weight doesn't fluctuate much. It's like, but sometimes I just feel, and this is when I know I've eaten more food than I require, which is still my biggest challenge. Lindy ratio. Perfect. Kathleen Hughes. Thanks, Casey and Kathleen Hughes. Can keto reverse coronary disease? I wondered that myself. And that is a question for someone, a non-biased medical provider, a doctor, a researcher. I don't know. I just found out that, doing the things you need to do, which continues to be my next thing, returning to resistance training, weight-bearing exercises. I have a little bit baseline of osteopenia. I've only had one test done, though. But my doctor advises, because I said, can I reverse osteopenia with the exercise? Oh, yes. Hot dog. So, but I don't know about coronary disease. Olivia Richards, eating celery is supposed to lower your blood pressure. My sister swears by this. If she's high, she eats a few ribs of celery and it comes down. Who knew? All right. I'm going to, here's a personal message. And I'm going to deviate from my usual. I'll spend the last couple of minutes here. First of all, I want to thank everyone. Some of you have been at nearly every live stream I've ever done, and I really appreciate it. Some of you have made lovely comments and all that. I'm thinking this may be my last live stream that I do. I'm very appreciative and honored to have a platform where I can do this. But I'm thinking I'm going to move away from live streams and concentrate on some other things for me and my lovely mate in our life and my wish to do the most good I can do for the most people I can do. Like the John Wesley things. Let me do all the good I can for all the people I can in all the ways I can, as long as ever I can. And I think there's another way I can, maybe. So thank you very much. I may change my mind, but as it stands now, I'm thinking at least not every week. Thank you very much. And the reason I started Go Keto with Casey was not to be a YouTube personality. Frankly, some of those just irritate me. Ugh. But I told my husband when I left my previous career, that if I can help one person, it will be time well spent. I know how I felt when I was obese, unhappy, depressed, in physical pain, couldn't move easily through the world at my size. And I let so many things in my life go by the wayside because of the way I felt. I was down on myself. I would have a very good life. I was down on myself. So the reason I started this is because if I can do this and re-enter my life, you can do this. And I want to share that message. I don't care how old you are. I started this when I was 55. Next month, I'll be 66. There are people who are 18 years old who are making a decision that, whoa, things have gotten in front of me. I'm going to try this. Males, females, retired people, people with 5 kids, people with no kids. It doesn't matter. If I can do this, you can do this. And I really appreciate you allowing me to share my story. And I'm going to cry. So I'm going to stop this. Just remember, keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. Total, not net. If it's not on page 4, link below. Don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop eating when you've had enough. Be patient and persevere. Be kind to yourself. Be firm with yourself. And be honest with yourself. Adios.